Fungal Infection Spore got a massive new update with a bunch of new mobs, including 2 calamities, a handful of mechanics, some new blocks, but also something to fight back. So first of all, let's look at the new mobs that were introduced in this version. And the first one we're gonna look at is the Reaper. This one, honestly, is, I think, my new favorite mob from this mod. This thing, which is evolved from a zombified infected villager, it will eat crops and food in the world. And when it does that, it accumulates like hunger points that it can like distribute to other mobs. It's a farmer. He's just like me. Now, when eating berries or other stems, there's a chance that it becomes a decayed bush. When the Reaper finds a composter, he will grab it, put it on its back, and now he will gain even more hunger points from the bushes and the plants that he will eat. And like I said, when he reaches a certain amount of points, he will find starving mobs from the infected, and he will give them hunger points and also transfer them into kill points to evolve. This guy inflicts poison and nausea on a melee attack. And he's pretty fast. Next, we're gonna look at the Gargoyle. This is an evolved adventurer, well, an evolved player. And these things, they can't attack. What they will do, let's hope this guy doesn't see me, he will go above you and drop, slamming on the ground. If there's blocks that can fall, they will fall, creating like gravity blocks, like sand. Just like that, the leaves are falling down because of the smash. And this is its only way to attack. If the adventurer had a weapon and a helmet, it will keep it on its head, but not the rest of the body, because it's kind of missing something. The damage it does depend on the height of the gargoyle and the type of the ground. Like harder blocks will, excuse me, do more damage. Next, we have the Conductor, which is the evolution of the scientist that you can mostly find in the structures. These guys, they will accumulate charge, and the more you wait, the more they accumulate charge, until, well, they deploy a blast, a shock at you. If you're too close, sometime there's gonna be a link between you and the mob, dealing you damage. It is such a unique concept. They only gain charge when they have a target, and these guys will actually do 3 times more damage to an Iron Golem. Well, if it doesn't have a lot of charge, it's gonna die to the Iron Golem, but still, this thing is very specific to kill Iron Golem. Next, we have, I'm gonna butcher the names, don't worry, the Grubberfub. Where did you go? I think the Proto despawned it. These guys are the evolution of the Leaper. They are a hyper evolution, meaning a Leaper will have to accumulate 7 kill points to evolve into this. This guy has 4 different attacks. He can charge at you like that. Oh my god. They can kick, they can slap, and they can, yeah, just bash like this. Each attack have a different effect. Like the smash will make block fall, just like we checked with the gargoyle. The kick will just knock back you very far, and the slap will inflict nausea. And ow, for the charge, oh my god, this guy leaps a lot. Well, it's evolution of the Leaper after all. There's an Easter egg, if you call him Nolan or Omni-Man, he will wear the suit of Omni-Man, which is fitting with how he jumps and kick around. He does feel like a superhero. Moving on. Now, there's a new organoid called the Hive Tumor, and this is basically a mini proto-hive mind. And the way that it forms is with the death of a proto-hive mind. If a proto-hive mind dies, there we go, it will leave its body behind, and there's gonna be some brain remnant. If 4 of these are left unattended, I don't even think there's 4 right now. Okay, there's 4. 4, and for each minute, there is a 5% chance that they combine and create a hive tumor. And it acts basically just like a proto-hive mind, but miniaturized. Everything else is toned down. It can link up mobs to help fight for it, it can defend itself when you hit it can infect all around, it can spawn organoids to defend itself too, it gives madness, but can't summon scent, it doesn't have a damage cap, cannot load chunks, it doesn't gain fire resistance. When you kill it, it doesn't send a signal to other calamity mobs. It cannot build the giant biomass walls, but after 6 in-game hours, If this thing is left unattended, well, there's gonna be a proto-hive mind taking its place. It's gonna evolve. Oh, speaking of which, there it is. Regrowth. You'll see that in the chat. Yeah, it consumed every brain remnant, and you have now a hive tumor. But since it doesn't have a damage cap, you can just one-shot them with that. Now, before we move on to the actual new calamities, the two previous calamities got new adaptation. To make this simpler, let's just summon another proto-hive mind to go into proto-world, which means when we're gonna summon them, they are gonna be in their adapted form automatically. So first of all, for the Krakensenke, this thing, oh my god, look at that. This is the Galleon adaptation. Normally, they can get this adaptation by either sinking your ship, giving them like wood points, or by simply breaking logs on shipwrecks or on land. Anyway, this thing takes 20% less damage, and he gains a harpoon gun on his back. There's literally a dude. Can you stop? Let's go in the water. There's a dude with a harpoon on its back. So when it's on land, there's a chance that it shoots the harpoon. Look at that. Oh my god. I just noticed it disabled my portable cryogenic injector for a long time when I got grabbed. Now for the Halfresser. This thing is extremely long with its new Engorge adaptation. Basically, when it reached 50 kills and 50 ore eaten, it increases in size and gain the Engorge adaptation. It gains 5 more segment, we can see that with F3B. It's so freaking long, that's what she said. And basically all its stats is boosted. Health, armor, it takes 50% less fire damage, and does more damage. So if we can survival, this thing was pretty buggy last time, and they fixed the space program of the Halfresser. Well, they should have fixed that, I can't see. Now that we're done with the previous calamities, let's look at the new one. And one of the new one is a water calamity called the Leviathan. Yep, another Leviathan. It's another big fish. Underwater, this thing swims extremely fast. When it does, I think it counts it as on the water right now because it's not fast. Let's go in the water. Okay, there we go, there we go. It's basically a giant whale with a pincer mouth. And one thing to note, if the mouth is closed, you will deal less damage, but if the mouth is open and you hit right here, you will deal twice as much damage. When this thing gets hit, there's a 20% chance. Okay, it didn't happen here, and I just noticed it's when I'm using it against a calamity, it resets the cooldown of the PCI. Okay, let's try to trigger the bombs. You need to deal at least 10 damage for it to trigger. Oh, there we go. It's dropping bombs. That some of them will sink, some of them will float and explode. It's gonna give you either Mycelium Infection, Wither, or Weakness for 9 seconds. It has a range attack. If it's too far away, it should shoot at you. And when the Leviathan is in water, well, fully submerged, which it is not right now. Let's submerge it. There we go. When you're in the water, it's going to look normal, but when you're out of the water, it is going to take the same tint as the water, effectively gaining a camouflage. But of course, if it's going to be on land, this thing is going to be pretty slowed, but just like a weird caterpillar, it has a ton of legs on its side, ow, so it can still walk. I don't know if we watch it? Yeah, there we go, ow. If I go in survival, okay, here we go. It has some procedural walking animation, so yeah, there we go, just like the other calamities. Look at that go. It's going straight for me. And finally, let's look at the Stalmorder, or the Steel Murderer. Anyway, this thing, I think it's the first biped calamity that they added, and it is a non-specific calamity. It doesn't matter if it's air, water, ground, it's just a calamity for the proto-hive mind. And this thing is attacking slower than normal mobs, if it doesn't jump away. So it attacks 2 times slower, but it has a 50% chance to give you corrosion, and if you wear any armor, it has a 75% chance to give you corrosion, which will ultimately break your armor really quickly. It's basically an evolved version of the new Leaper. You know, the Groberfub, this one here. It basically does the same kicks, the same slaps, just like that, but more increased than this one. One thing I haven't mentioned with the other one about the tail, but you can dismember these things, just like the other calamities. The arm, if it sustains enough damage, can be dropped from the Stallmarder, and after killed for some parts. I'm not sure about the tail of this one. Okay, so it only drops its tail once it's dead, it's just a part. This update also comes with a bunch of new blocks, just like a wall remain. Instead of all the body remains on the floor, there's now wall one. Some growth that the protos and the mounts can drop on the floor, and breaking these will lend different types of items. There's the bile lump, the Feng lump, be careful with this one. It can hurt, and it deals approximately 10% of your HP. There's a vocal growth, the Feng lump, like I said, it can drop some Feng. There's the cancerous lung, which will drop sac, which is very useful with milk to make the milky sac. The corrosive tumor will drop the corrosive sac, which is, in fact, very useful. We'll come to that later. And there's the cancerous claw, which is basically, a claw. It just acts like a cobweb, but you are stuck vertically. You need to like walk away or destroy it, which can take some time. And it will drop some tendons. I can see this being part of a trap. Whoop. Now I'm stuck. Also, there's some new infested stone bricks and infested bricks. Alright, now it's time to look at the new items, starting with the horse armor. I didn't think this would be a thing, but it's so awesome. These horse armor, the flesh horse armor, the plated horse armor, and the living horse armor are obtained by doing the challenge watcher raid. If you don't remember, to start a watcher raid, you need to actually kill a proto and light this thing on fire to actually start the raid. And this thing will, well, basically raid you with mobs until you kill all of them, and it can drop some rewards. Some of them being the flesh, the plate, and the living horse armor. The flesh horse armor, oh my god, look at that, will actually proc regen if the horse is, whoop, I had strength, forgot about that. Like I said, it is gonna proc regen if it gets hurt. Now the plated horse armor, oh my god, it looks cool. A bit creepy though. Will allow the horse to climb walls just like a spider. Oh my god, this horse is so slow, what the heck. Anyway, allowing you to traverse pretty much every terrain you can find along your journey. And the living horse armor, well, basically does both. As simple as that. If it hurts, it's gonna proc regen. It also gives 20 armor to the horse. Now let's move on to the part where you're probably all waiting for the guns. There's 3 new guns in the mod: Mycelial Mistmaker, Acidic Assassin, and the Bile Blaster. And let's start with the Mycelial Mistmaker. To make this thing, you will need a whole bunch of things, but most importantly, you will need to kill calamity mobs. You need an airborne reforged biomass, which is dropped by an air calamity, an aquatic reforged biomass, which is dropped by an aquatic calamity, and the terrestrial reforged biomass, which is also dropped by a terrestrial calamity. So this is pretty much endgame. Oh, and I forgot the amalgamated heart, which is dropped from Siegers and Hindenburg. So lots of calamity killing to get this thing, as well as other normal stuff, as well as a voracious regent. And this gun, well, basically feeds on biomass. You need to right click and it's gonna pop out a mouth, and you just eat stuff alive. It can be Fungal mobs, it can be any mobs. It's just going to store biomass in the gun. It doesn't do a lot of damage, so it's best to be used on like a herd of sheeps, I think. I don't know what does more in terms of biomass, but it's safer and it's not good for combat. But it's a good way to recharge in the battle. But, well, as we can see right now, I can't use it on a horse unless I, like, move my camera. Once you accumulated some biomass, at least enough to be shot, well, you can simply left-click and it's going to be a shotgun. And it does a lot of damage to mobs. Unfortunately, I can't feed on the remain. And eating biomass is pretty much the only way to feed it. Now, with the many new syringes that you can own, you can mutate these weapons. So if we use a mutating syringe, we can get a few mutation. It's only giving me vampiric, but you can give it most of the mutation. Like I said, vampiric, calcified, berserk, rotten, etc. They can be enchanted with unbreaking, mending, curse of vanishing, which why would you want that? And they can be repaired in an incubator. Now moving on to the other 2 guns, because they function similarly. There's the Acidic Assassin, which is technically a sniper. You can zoom. Without the zoom mod, you just crouch and it's going to zoom for you. And the Bile Blaster, which is just a fast shooting gun. The other one's a sniper, so it's just more dangerous. And the way you reload this, there is two ways to reload this. For the Bile Blaster, you will need concentrated bile vial, which is simply a bucket of bile with 3 glass bottles, giving you 3 concentrated bile vials. So you need something that spew biles everywhere if you want to recharge this gun, or feed it with any food. It has a stomach, and you can feed it, and it's going to slowly recharge, not as fast as using the concentrated bile vial. So if we just, let's say we just spam this thing, when you right click, it's going to consume 1 vial, which was the bile one for the Bile Blaster, of course, and it's going to fully recharge the gun. And for the concentrated acid vial, this is where I said the corrosive sec will be useful. It's to make the concentrated acid vial for the acidic assassin. The gun has a mouth, and just like the other two, you can put improvement on them, mutations, and shoot stuff. It doesn't seem to do a lot of damage, but it does add a bunch of effect. And they don't seem to have an increased damage on spore mobs. So for a fully endgame weapon, for me, they feel a bit underwhelming, especially we haven't checked a D's crafting recipe, but it's basically the same thing. The acidimetric gland is dropped by the Stalmorder, the Holfresser, and the Viatins. There, it also needs terrestrial, aquatic, and airborne reforged biomass, which is a lot. You need to kill stuff. It's very late game, and I feel like it's gonna fall behind to other stuff in the mod. And the Bile Blaster, well, requires the hyperbolized liver, which is dropped from the Howitza and the Gazan Breacher. So they do feel a bit underwhelming. I don't know what kind of combo you can do with Mutation Syringe. Maybe there's a way to completely make them busted. You can't stack Mutation, so I don't know. Anyway, it's still fun to gain new weapons. There's a bunch of like hotfixes and nerf to some mobs that were already too strong. So I'm pretty glad about that. But overall, I'm pretty happy that we're gaining more options to fight off the spore. I feel like at this point, the infection is pretty complete. It has pretty round up everything an infection should have. The only thing that is left, in my opinion, is a way to like end it all, save the world, confine everything, or something. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching. What the heck, the whole oh my god, wow, big worm. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.